tuned in to the Crispy Noodle Podcast
You realize what you've done?
with Rich Liebig
A real gangster plays his cards, right?
and Michael Costanzo.
What was that you just read?
Let us be the crispy noodle in your vegetarian salad of life and boring news.
Good times, noodle salad.
The point is, you now have the ability to be happy.
And now, here's Rich and Mike on the Crispy Noodle Podcast.
Woo! Yeah! How you guys doing?
What's up, everybody?
It's time for this week's episode of the Crispy Noodle Podcast. Let us be the Crispy Noodle in your vegetarian salad of life and boring news. Folks, it's our job to give you the most juicy bits in the world of sports, entertainment, odd news, and whatever else we happen to stumble across. Isn't that right, Mike?
That's right. We bring it to you with our unique sense of humor and wackiness. You never know what you're going to get here on the Crispy Noodle Podcast.
That's right. We have some topics for you this week in sports, entertainment, and odd news, but that doesn't mean we won't go off an unplanned segment or whatever the discussion will lead us to.
We venture-
Our minds.
We venture off the beaten path,
Yes.
hacking through the woods and the underbrush,
Yeah, then the minds
the mind woods.
will go out there.
like tendrils.
Woo! Yeah. What's a tendril?
A long, slithery thing.
All right, I like it. This sounds good. So, welcome to this episode of the Crispy Noodle Podcast. Before we jump into all the news topics, Mikey, my friend, how you doing?
What's up? I'm good.
Yeah, sup?
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 What's up is I had a very busy weekend this past weekend. So I was down in Maryland for a friend's wedding. One of my girlfriend's close friends.
All the weddings are coming back now.
All the weddings are coming back.
post-COVID.
I have two in a month span, but they're both destination weddings. You know, one was in
Oof.
Maryland and one is actually in the Bahamas, so much further away than Maryland. But it's fun. You know, it's tiring going back and forth and all over the place, and but it's always a lot of fun. So we had the wedding
At
in
least
Maryland.
you can travel now.
At least, right, exactly. At least we can travel, which is, you know, a far cry from a year ago when things are getting canceled. And that's why there's this backlog of like all these weddings, like starting now until like the end of next year. I have, I think, like 6 or 7 weddings in like a year and a half span.
Sorry that I added you to mine.
Rich, no, that's fine. No, it's not just you; it's my brother as well.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like all of
Bruno,
a sudden,
too.
Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, damn it, Bruno.
It's all his fault, really.
Oh, not good. It's
But no, it's fun. It's fun to be able to celebrate.
Oh, this feels so good. Even in my sound clip, sometimes it
shows up,
lags a little bit, and Bruno's sound clip lagged a little bit there.
See, John Bruno causes all the problems.
Yeah, it's the way it happens. And he lays one like that.
Oh, that's all he's good for. But yeah, I love going to Maryland and eating all the crab. Are you gonna play the fart sound again?
No.
I was like waiting for it. I was like, I'm gonna start talking. He's gonna fart.
That is appropriate after you eat a bunch of crab.
It is. But no, I had a good time. I had raw oysters for the first time, which was, oh my God, he's done. He can't stop playing the fart sound effect.
I'm sorry, I'll stop.
We're like kids.
I'll stop. All right, yeah. So tell us about Baltimore.
Yeah, so
we're not Baltimore. Where
not
did you go?
Baltimore. We were on Kent Island,
Okay.
which is a little island, I guess, between the Delmarva Peninsula and Annapolis, because the Bay Bridge is right there. So the wedding was at the beach club there, which was really nice. Had a lot of seafood, you know, tons of crab cakes, raw oysters. I had alligator bites, which is not alligator's not native to Maryland.
No, that's
but
usually down
It's
south.
usually down south. But
Now,
I made,
you're not a big raw oyster guy. At least I didn't think you were.
no. It was the first and only time I've ever had raw oysters. You
So
know,
what do you think?
they were interesting. So here's the thing: you eat them with horseradish.
They're
and
interesting.
They're interesting because you eat them with horseradish and cocktail sauce and a little squeeze of lemon on top. So you don't really taste anything other than the cocktail sauce and the horseradish, right? You don't if you don't think about what you're eating. I mean, it's fine. And I love seafood of all kinds, shellfish, fish, you know, whatever. And I've had baked oysters and cooked clams and all that stuff, but never raw, you know? So the raw one was definitely an experience. Little salty and briny. You get
Yeah.
little like bits of sand in there and, you know, whatever else because it's raw. It's fresh. It's right out of the water right there, you know? Have you done raw oysters?
Yes. Yeah, I'm not a big
Oh,
fan.
Not a big fan? No?
I-
Is it the sliminess?
the slimy and the saltiness? Yeah, I don't.
But did you
I'm
do
not-
it up with the cocktail sauce and horseradish and still
So
couldn't?
so the last time I did raw oysters was actually part of a Valentine's date me and Rachel went on,
Okay.
and it was good because like it was like the appetizer. So there was only like it was like 6 of them, and we only had like I only had like 2, which is like that's like my limit. Is like I'll have them once in a while.
Right.
You know, just like to remember what it tastes like, and then like, all right,
And
I'm
then
good.
then you're like, you know what? I remember that I don't like these. Everybody has a food like that. You're like, oh yeah, I'll try it because it's like something everybody talks about. And then you're like,
You know, I'm good. I'm good with just like 2.
Yeah.
I don't. I would not want to do a whole dozen of them.
yeah, no, I actually only had 2 as well because we got the group of us got a dozen to
Now,
share.
if it's actual like sushi, oh, I'm in for that. I love like raw sushi.
It's weird. So
I think it's the texture. I think it's just the
it's
texture.
it's a texture thing. And let me ask you this because this recently dawned on me as I was preparing salmon recently, and I'm like, I was like, oh, the raw salmon got to food safety. You can't, if you're handling raw meat, you can't touch other things. You got to be careful. And then I'm like, but I eat this stuff raw too. Like it's different, but like it always weirds me out that I'm like so peculiar with handling raw fish in the kitchen, but then I'll eat like a pound of raw fish at like a sushi place.
Well,
It's different, right?
Yeah, it's different grades of fish too,
Right,
though.
right. Yeah, I was just wondering if you
Like-
had that same. It's like mental
there-
gymnastics for me.
Well, there's a sushi grade level of fish too.
Right.
Like you can't go to your grocery store
And just get a thing
And-
of salmon and just start eating it.
right. At least you shouldn't. I mean, maybe you know.
No, because sushi is
Maybe if you're bold enough, you can.
sushi's actually.
But
I
there's
don't know
like
if it's flash frozen or something
Yeah.
to below a certain temperature to kill all of the bacteria and stuff like that. And
Right.
There's still always, of course, a risk with consuming raw food. But
Right.
it's just interesting that I'm like, so like some things I'll eat raw and I'll be like, it like doesn't even like dawn on me. Like
Yeah.
raw oysters, like sure I'll eat raw oysters.
so. All right, now here's another strange question.
Okay.
We're on this random topic of raw
Right.
food.
right,
So here's something I've always wanted to do.
I know exactly
Did I
what
tell
you're
you
gonna
about
say.
this? I think I've told you about
Are
this.
You want to eat like super rare beef.
I want one day.
Yeah.
I want to go into like a very super fancy,
Like
meat-
super 5-star
yeah,
steakhouse.
super 5, yeah. And I want to get like steak tartare. I think that would be awesome.
Do it.
You know,
It does look awesome.
it does, right?
Yeah.
Like I would totally go feast on that.
yeah.
And but that sounds weird, like raw meat. Like oh no, like that sounds like a
Right. So you see
a
what I'm
catastrophe.
you
to
see
happen.
what I'm saying? There's a weird mental thing where it's
Yeah.
like we can eat raw salmon, and then if I'm getting ready to cook salmon, I'm like, wash my hands after touch it. Oh, don't let that touch that, and
Yeah.
then you're talking about like eating raw beef.
I would
and
totally
eating raw shellfish, and
I want to have like that steak tartare. Like
Yeah. no, I would too.
I've watched like YouTube videos. Oh god, I want to like just.
Is that how you spend your free
I
time?
wanna-
Just
I wa-
watching steak tartare videos?
I want to just like jump right through the YouTube video and just be like, I want to try that, please.
You go to the restaurant and they're like, "What would you like to order?" And you're like, "Hold on." Here,
This-
I want this
this
video
YouTube
of this
video.
food. They're like, "What, sir?"
That's what I want.
But yeah, so I had raw
I
oysters.
hope you guys at home like raw food because I know there are some people that completely is like
grosses them
not
out.
yeah like gross is like they're I know some people if you mention raw food even the thought of like eating raw food they almost like keel over and like are gonna vomit.
Well,
So sorry if that's one of you and you're listening to our
so
show right
I
now.
personally know people that steak like me and you has to be like medium rare. You
Yeah.
know,
Uh-huh.
other people I know personally needs to be well done.
Yeah.
Like they don't like the idea of any pink because it is we
Yeah.
have it ingrained in our minds that like if your meat is uncooked, it could be dangerous. Like
yeah, but I think my thing is once you go past a certain threshold, it's practically fine.
so when you really get into the science of it, what you're doing is the inside of it is okay. It's you're cooking the outside because that's where all the pathogens would start growing. At least that's how I understand in my head.
Yeah. So my one aunt, oh my gosh, she like burns everything. She wants to like destroy like the actual, it's like, oh, I don't know if I could do that.
So you know what's funny is I used to be that way. I was taught growing up that your steak should not be red or pink on the inside. My mom said that. And then for whatever reason, when I got older, she's like, no, that's not true. I'm like, why did you tell me that all those years? I was like maybe like 13, 14. And she's like, no, it's fine. I'm like, then why did you tell me otherwise as a kid? So around that point, I started medium well, then medium.
Oh, you went down the chart?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Oh, that's interesting. Because you progressively went down. So that means in 10 years, you're going to be eating blue rare.
I'm going to be hunting cows. I'm going to be hunting cows out in the prairie.
There you go.
And eating them right there on the Great Plains.
Get the blood.
Get the blood,
tasty.
yeah. No, I used to be a well-done person. When I was like a kid, well done, because that's what I was taught. But I was lied to, and my mom told me that it wasn't. I'm like, why? Parents lie to kids all the time.
Yeah. I think that's also true for like kids too, that you don't want to, depending on your kid too, because obviously every kid's going to be different. But I think you also don't want to push like too much of a fancy stuff on your kid too early.
Right.
Like, here, just eat this.
And also
don't question it, just eat it.
I guess with kids, you don't want there to be any any gray area.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like kids are kind of like, kids are smart, but they're also kind of dumb. So if you tell a kid that you can
eat that, kids.
So if you tell a kid that, oh, your meat doesn't have to be done all the way, kids will start eating like raw steak out of the package from the grocery store because kids are stupid.
Right.
So I guess my parents were like, no, make sure it's cooked.
See vodka butt chugs.
See what?
The vodka butt chugs.
A butt chug?
Yeah. Remember the kids were doing that for a little bit?
No, I don't remember that.
Oh, yeah. These stupid kids, yeah. They were
vodka butt. When I say kids, I mean like 8-year-olds, Rich.
Oh, I was thinking of like college kids.
No, what? Vodka butt.
Yeah, they were doing vodka butt chugs, yeah. These kids in college, like 5 or 6 years ago.
I looked up vodka butt chugs.
Did you really Google that?
Butt chugging leads to severe alcohol poisoning.
Yes, there you go. And it's because of these kids a couple years ago. That's why this is a thing. That's why you can actually get a legitimate search result.
Oh, my God. This kid showed a blood alcohol level thought to be well over 0.4.
Yeah.
By chugging it through his butt.
Yeah. I just realized we went into like odd news there, which we usually don't get to the end of the show.
So, Rich.
Sorry about that.
What have you been up to this weekend other than butt chugging vodka?
Yeah, no, I watch people do it. I'm not doing that. It's also acrobatic too. You got to like.
I could never.
Yeah, you have to get up in like a weird position.
I would crack my head open.
Yeah. No, I don't. I don't do that. I stay in one position and I drink my alcohol that way.
Sitting down.
Yes. I don't even know what I was gonna say for my intro. You know what? How about this? We went off way too much on a tangent between raw food and
this is such a weird tangent.
Butt chugging, yeah. So let's move on. We need to get to. How about we get to the news at hand?
Let's do it.
Yeah, I don't even know what I was gonna say for the introduction now at this point. All right, plans go out the window. Let's go to our first batch of news topics. It's time for the Sports Sampler.
So you're not good at sports. It's a very small part of life.
Sports. In your face. Ha ha!
Oh, yeah. Time for some sports news. We're going to hit you with a couple of topics in 2 minutes or less with the 2-minute drill. You ready, Mike?
I'm ready.
All right. Clock is on. What do you have?
All right, this week in the 2-minute drill, we have yet another Aaron Rodgers update. Can you believe this? After another round of charity golf, that's all this guy does anymore is golf. And it's the
Aaron Rodgers, they say, is a 4 or 5 handicap.
That's pretty good.
That means
that's almost like pro level, right?
That means if he practices harder enough, more hard, I don't know. He could actually contend with the pros.
I mean, he might have to after this because
he's right there.
Because he might not have a job in Green Bay. So after another round of charity golf, Rodgers said about his status with Green Bay, quote, "I'm going to enjoy the hell out of this week, and then I'm going to get back to working out and figure things out in a couple of weeks," end quote. very non-committal, Rich. Could he be eyeing golf as a possible future career? I mean, I don't know what to make of this Rodgers-Green Bay situation. I think the longer it goes on, the more likely it is he just ends up playing the season.
I think this quote that he said at the golf tournament recently is a sign that he's realizing that he has to play for the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay is not going to trade him.
No.
It's too late in the offseason to do this. And even if he did get traded, would he really be able to learn a whole new team playbook? You know, that fast and everything like that?
They have like less than 8 weeks before the start of the season.
Right. So his two options at this point now are either he plays for Green Bay and he just deals with it, or he doesn't play at all and he loses his salary this year. I think he's going to go for the first option. I think he'll just, at this point, it's too late. Just grit your teeth, try and do your best, and then next year maybe force a trade.
Right, and then get out of town next year. Yeah, it was much ado about nothing, I think.
Yeah, but it was fun to cover. An excuse for us to talk about football. So there you go. You should be happy.
I will take any excuse there is to talk about football, especially with this next topic coming up. That's right. In lieu of football, we have some exhilarating golf news, Rich.
Yes.
And you have the full story for us.
We have a full-blown rivalry fight happening in the world of golf.
I may not know my flowers, but I know a bitch when I see one.
Oh, yeah. This is actually, for it being golf, this is tantalizing news here. This is,
okay.
You know, usually with golf, you have to remember, this is coming from an era of, of pomp and circumstance, of, gentlemen's agreements, protocol.
Right.
Stuff like this does not usually happen in the field of golf.
Right.
So you got to alter your expectations here.
Okay.
So for the world of golf, this next sentence is pretty compelling. That Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau have now acknowledged publicly that the two are in a little bit of a spat. They had some pre-tournament interviews because this weekend is the last golf major, the British Open. Koepka claims in a pre-tournament interview that DeChambeau didn't live up to a players' agreement that they had not to mention each other negatively in public interviews. Apparently, DeChambeau criticized Koepka for being in ESPN's The Body Issue. It's one of those that, they all the athletes get naked, but like it's, tastefully done so they don't show, graphic stuff. But it's to show off that, every body is, body positivity, all that stuff.
Right, yeah.
He criticized him for being in that, but he did it on Twitch. And maybe he thought since it was on Twitch, it was fair, that was fine. He wasn't breaking this supposed agreement that he had with Koepka. But Koepka says that he does break the gentleman's agreement that they had between them. So now he said in this interview that, quote, DeChambeau is fair game.
This is what I don't get about DeChambeau. He's kind of a jerk.
He is. Oh yeah.
Because why go out there and criticize this guy on Twitch? I mean, he did it. He knew.
DeChambeau,
he knew exactly what he was doing.
DeChambeau, he is one of those guys. He likes to prod people to see what kind of reactions he can get.
Okay.
I mean, literally, we talked about this 3 weeks ago at the U.S. Open when he blatantly walked in the background of his of Koepka's shoot, with the deleted cut that somehow got released. If I'm PGA, come on,
you got
put the pedal to the metal. Make this a thing.
You got to stoke the fires.
Yeah, this is great. DeChambeau has responded. He has said in another follow-up interview, DeChambeau says that Koepka can, quote, say whatever he wants, but I'm just here to play golf and focus on that. If we want to keep bantering back and forth, obviously being respectful. I think this will be fun and a good environment for people in golf. So you know what? DeChambeau wants to do this. He's prodding the bear, and he wants to see what reaction that he can get out of Koepka.
It sounds like they're both in on it, kind of.
It's like professional wrestling.
Yeah, right?
I think Koepka might be taking this a little bit more seriously, though.
It does seem like Koepka's taking a little bit
seriously. That's why I said a couple weeks ago, this is like the Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels kind of rivalry.
Right.
DeChambeau is totally Shawn Michaels. He wants the showboat. He wants to, poke and prod and see what he can get away with. And Koepka is more of the traditionally trained golfer. He wants to respect the traditions and stuff. And
the
he's like,
integrity of the game.
and he's like the Bret Hart. It really does make sense here. It is fascinating.
If I were the PGA, I would really highlight this. I mean, it seems like they are because all the headlines coming out.
Yeah.
And the PGA is probably behind a little bit of it. Stoking the fires.
Absolutely,
getting these guys
it.
interviews. I mean, do it. I mean, this is the most exciting thing to happen in golf in a long time. And they know it. I mean, he says right here, it's fun and a good environment for people in golf. It sounds like they're in support of this type of...
At least
DeChambeau is, right?
See, I think Koepka, though, this is a little bit personal. I think Koepka really doesn't actually like him. He has like a little bit of a chip on his shoulder whenever he mentions DeChambeau. And I love it. Like, this is what you need. Put those... For the love of God,
match them up, put them together.
If they are at the same level throughout the tournament at any point this weekend, put them in the same group. I want to see them golf together and have to deal with each other. That would be hilarious. Just do it. Come on.
Man up, PGA.
Yeah.
Get it done.
For those that are curious, because sometimes I do like to see the odds on this. If you're curious, according to Vegas, Bryson DeChambeau is slightly more favored to win the Open this week compared to Brooks Koepka. John Ram, who won the U.S. Open recently, he's the overall favorite at 7-1. Bryson is next at 14-1. Dustin Johnson at 15-1. Rory McIlroy at 16-1. Xander Schauffele at 16-1. Brooks Koepka at 16-1. And then we have Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth at 20-1.
And Jordan Spieth, there's a name we haven't heard.
Yeah.
But Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau, pretty close right there. I mean,
Yep, Bryson a little bit on a bigger edge. More favored there to win. So
they should just pair them up regardless. Just like fix it. I mean, fix it so they can just be paired up.
Yeah, come on, just do it.
Don't even worry about positioning or rank or whatever. Just match them. Just do it.
Do it.
Do like a title fight between the two.
Someone get a championship belt and just have them fight over it. Come on, PJ. Do it.
I agree. You know me. I'm always saying they need to find ways to make golf more interesting. I've suggested battle golf, where they have like mini golf style obstacles. I've suggested speed golf, where they have to do it, but they have to like run to the holes and hit it as fast as they can. This is the next best thing. You have two people who hate each other have to golf together.
Yeah,
you stoke those. Like look at how every other sport does it, right? The Celtics and the Lakers, the Eagles and the Cowboys. You gotta have these rivalries to give people something to root for and root against. It's just as important to have things to root against. Yep. So I think PGA would do well to make it a thing. They should do rivalries. They should have divisions and conferences and do rivalries. Basically, make golf football.
Yeah, that's basically what you want.
That's all I want in life. It's everything to be like football.
All right. Well, Mike, you still have 8 or 9 weeks till football, so you got to hold off
Unfortunately, yeah.
But we'll get there. We'll get there.
But
for those that are fans of golf like I am, this weekend is the last major tournament of the year, the British Open. I think it would be cool if we could see these two paired up and see some sparks fly, because I think there'd be some words.
Are you going to be disappointed if they aren't paired up? The last one of the season.
There's like 70 to 100 golfers in this.
So the odds are
they don't get paired, but at the same time, if they finish at like the same level at one day, they really should. PGA should step in and just be like, we're going to do. Well, since it's the British Open, it's the British.
Those damn Brits.
Those damn Brits.
They're going to ruin everything.
Royal Golf Association.
As my dad says, the fast-talking Brits.
They may not like that in their neck of the woods on links.
Bums.
On the links.
Bums.
Yeah, come on. You just do it. Come on. Have some fun.
You won't.
No. Yeah, you won't. Yeah. Hey, Britain, you won't.
You won't.
You won't. You won't.
You know who else won't? Oakland.
Good transition, Mike.
Thank you. It's happening again.
It is happening again.
What is happening again in Oakland?
All right. So we had going back to football. We had the whole kerfluffle of the Raiders. This this dilemma that the Raiders wanted a new stadium. They wanted to move out of the Oakland Coliseum. Oakland wouldn't give them enough money to pay for a new football stadium. So what does the Raiders organization do? They straight up just get the hell out of town. They found the nearest city that would give them the money that they wanted to build their $1 billion stadium. And they went there to the glorious city of Las Vegas. And looking back on it, doesn't it seem so quick that it happened? Like all of a sudden, bam, it just happened. Next season, the Raiders
really
were there. That's
it really did. It was like one day they were there and the one day they weren't.
Yep. And that was the end of it. And now you have the Las Vegas Raiders. Unfortunately, it is happening again, folks, and again to Oakland, too, because now the organization is the Oakland Athletics. They are at a very dire point in their franchise history. Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred is also pissed off at this situation. He has said in a recent interview that, quote, the Oakland Athletics the process of keeping the Oakland Athletics from relocating is, quote, at its end, and that at this point it is the decision for Oakland as to whether they want to have us moving forward. So that is a mic drop there.
Yeah.
He is basically saying if Oakland doesn't give in to the demands of building a new stadium, that's it. He's going to approve the Athletics to move out of Oakland,
right?
Which is going to be a shame for Oakland. I mean, that's it. They don't have anybody else.
They have nothing.
They went from being a 3-team sports town to now having none.
Yeah, it is really upsetting for the fans. The city itself, I don't feel bad for, the actual city and the government of Oakland because they're not playing ball. Pardon the pun.
Well,
I understand they're asking for a lot. You have here they're asking for $1 billion. However, I just looked up. Do you realize that the stadium was built in '66? So the stadium is over 50 years old.
It is,
and now it's not just the A's; it's also the MLB have deemed the site of the Oakland Coliseum a non-viable option.
I think we're all in agreement. I don't think anybody would be willing to say that the Oakland Coliseum is beautiful or anything. I think most people would agree that the Oakland Coliseum needs to be torn down. I mean, that was still the stadium that they were doing that half-assed, half football, half baseball.
Yeah.
There'd be a random pitcher's mound in the middle of the football game. I think everybody would agree the stadium sucks. But at the same time, does a major franchise need $1 billion to build a new stadium?
What do stadiums go for?
$1 billion?
Well, what do stadiums go for these days?
I mean, can we keep it in the millions range? Is that asking too much? Really? I don't know. I don't think it is.
So I looked up Lincoln Financial Field.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
That was, what, 2004?
It was $512 million in 2004.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking, years later, 17 years later, right?
Yeah.
In a stadium that needs, I think, way more work. I mean, no, Veterans was pretty bad.
Yeah, Veterans was pretty bad.
Veterans Stadium was pretty bad. But, I mean, I don't think it's unreasonable
People
in today's dollars.
They got hurt.
What?
The one tackle would end somebody's career at
I know,
Veterans
right?
Stadium.
I guess what I'm saying is that I don't think it's too crazy to ask. I mean, $1 billion is a lot, but the new Cowboys Stadium is $1.15 billion.
Yeah, but they're the Cowboys.
And this is also a stadium that would host, well, it would have, at the time, hosted 2 sports, potentially.
They're the Cowboys, though. I don't want teams to follow the path of the Cowboys.
You think $1 billion is too much?
I think it is.
I think that's the going rate now. This is 2021.
No. Do you really expect taxpayers to really be down with that? I don't think that's fair.
No,
you're really strong arming.
No, because here's the thing: it's BS. Because all of these stadiums are not Oakland Stadium; they're Lincoln Financial Field, and they are AT&T Stadium, and they are giant monolithic corporation name Coliseum.
Most of them are.
So they build this for $1 billion. Half of that money is going to come from Verizon or Comcast or whatever bank is big in Oakland.
It's always the banks.
Half of it's going to be funded through private funding, through advertising. Not only that, you recoup all that. I mean, think about what a football team, especially like the Raiders. The Raiders, it's long gone now, but the Raiders were so popular in the area. Diehard fans.
Yep.
Buying merchandise, buying tickets, buying concessions. Same thing with the Athletics. They're a storied franchise.
Yep.
So $1 billion spent here, it's an investment because they're going to get it back tenfold in years to come. I think Oakland just doesn't want sports teams because this is now the same thing again with a second sport. They just don't want sports in Oakland.
Yeah. Well, it seems to be that they aren't willing to go to the $1 billion mark. Because that's exactly what the Raiders asked for their new stadium. They asked for $1 billion.
I think that's the going rate. If Jerry Jones shut out 1.15,
Jerry Jones is different though.
Okay.
Jerry Jones.
Okay. Jerry Jones is different, but that was a couple years ago.
Megalomaniacal asshole.
Okay. But that was a couple years ago, right? And they're asking for less than that. So I think that's within reason. If the link cost $512 and Jerry Jones cost $1.15 billion, in between that you're looking at like $700 to $900 million. That's not that far off.
How about this? Keep it under $1 billion. Can you at least still use the M word? Can we still get to the millions?
Can we use the M word?
Yeah. How about that?
Mother effer, Oakland.
Yeah, right? Is that too much to ask?
No, it's not too much to ask.
Because right now, I think that's going to be the difference between the Athletics staying in town and leaving for Vegas.
What I really think is happening is weird that all these teams are fleeing to Las Vegas. I think Las Vegas and Oakland have like some sort of weird backroom deal.
The room where it happens. The room where it happens.
Somebody's been watching Hamilton. That's like the third time you've done that.
I have been.
It's good.
It is. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got nominated for a couple Emmys, which we'll talk about in a little bit in the entertainment entree.
Nice plug.
Yeah. I'm a professional. Anyway, for this story, it is crazy to think that a second professional team is going to bolt out of Oakland, go straight to Vegas.
So
and
here's
for Oakland, I think that's it. I don't think there's any other sports teams left.
Yeah, as Oakland has succeeded in getting rid of all their sports teams.
Yeah, it's a shame.
But is Vegas close to securing the Infinity Gauntlet of teams? If they get the Athletics, they would just be down a basketball team.
Which I think that would probably be easy to swindle too.
Because it looks like basketball wants to expand. They just upped the playoffs to like 31.
20 teams.
All the teams. So
it's ridiculous. I will agree with you on that. Basketball, I'm sorry. I hate this play-in system. I think it's
dumb.
stupid. Literally 2/3 of teams make the playoffs now.
It is, but
stupid.
you know the way to fix that is to add a couple teams. You add a couple teams, and all of a sudden it doesn't seem it's still ridiculous, but not as ridiculous.
Yep. Well, guess
so
what?
if they add one in Vegas, maybe.
Yep. There you go.
Bring Seattle back a team.
Vegas would have the big four. There you go. You're good to go.
Yep. I think that's what Vegas is after. I think after they get
so bizarre. By the way,
the A's are going to move. The A's are going to move.
We need to take a step back on that statement, actually.
What?
Because if you had told me or my grandpop like 25 years ago, especially coming out of like Pete Rose and stuff like that, where gambling was never supposed to intersect with the sports world,
right?
In terms of like an actual professional look,
right?
I mean, of course, people bet on sports, but I mean,
sports,
in terms of
sports and gambling have always gone together. But sports,
but in terms
and
of
gambling existed in different places.
Yeah, in terms of like the actual public representation,
right?
They were never that would be mind-boggling if you told my grandpa 25 years ago that Vegas is going to have 3 sports teams in
right
in the blink of an eye soon. Like that would have been you would have been laughed out of your mind.
It makes sense because the sports fans, I mean, in Vegas's mind, it's like, this is perfect. We're getting money from the stadiums. We're getting money from the gambling on the sports that are happening in the stadiums. It works for them. What is weird is that you're also, I think opening, and we talked about this before, opening a can of worms for players, to make gambling easy. I mean, they could already if they wanted to. You know, it's just now that it's right there.
Yeah, it seems like you're inviting the demons to run amok.
Yeah, it's like they probably already do. I mean, let's be honest. Online gambling's a thing.
Yeah.
They definitely do already.
Probably to at least some degree.
They absolutely. Yeah, I mean, come on. Do you have like a couple $1 million? You're not going to put down.
Before COVID, we had that random story from the tennis world. Remember that? That there was accusations that the umpires were or not umpire, whatever they're called in tennis.
The ball checker. I don't know.
The ball checker.
Referee.
But that there was. Do you remember that? It was like right before COVID. It was before COVID got the ball rolling on that. There was a whole implication from sports articles that were saying that the tennis world had some.
I'm not surprised.
Deceptive
measures. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. It's just now they're breaking the last barrier.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably already happening, and now it's like it's just accepted. It's probably going to be a thing. You know, but I don't really see. Here's the thing: I never really understood the problem with it. Because like
what?
Players gambling. So look at Pete Rose, right?
Yeah.
It's not like he ever sucked.
No,
he gambled and he still played well.
He said he always bet on his side. But
whether or not that's true, it's like if he had bet and then he had actively thrown games or something.
Yeah.
But it's hard to throw a game as one player on a team.
Well, how about talk like basketball where you're only one of 5?
Okay, basketball. All right, that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
Yeah. But also now with these sports books, there are so like minute details you can bet on.
Right.
Especially for like football. We talk about this off air. You know, there's prop bets for like how many yards does off the top of my head, I know he retired, but off the top of my head, how many yards will Eli Manning run for? 10, over or under?
Right.
Like, there you go. You could just place a whole bunch of money on yourself to go under and then never run the ball.
Never run. Yeah.
Like, that's manipulation.
But does it affect the outcome of the game?
It could, potentially. I mean, probably a stat like that wouldn't, but it could.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it could definitely happen. I just... No,
that is far-fetched.
Right, it is far-fetched. No,
but,
it is still wrong.
But
it is
take
still wrong.
that scenario, and now with possibly 3 professional sports teams in Vegas, I don't know, it could get dicey.
I'm just saying, I'm wondering how often it already happens.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes. Except now the last barrier has fallen.
Right, and now they're all going to be just a couple minutes away from seeing the bookies right down the street in Las Vegas. Or digitally now with all the apps. So
conversation got like real intense about like sports gambling.
I mean, it's legitimate. I think it's
connected. It's
know,
connected.
I don't as much as it could be prevented. I don't think there'll ever be 100% certainty that things will be legit with these professional sports teams moving into Vegas.
I think the sports leagues want it.
Oh, well, some of them do. Oh, yeah.
I don't think
football definitely, NFL definitely wants it.
Yeah.
They make so much money on the endorsement deals from, FanDuel
and yeah,
all the other ones. And so, yeah, that makes sense there. So it's all in the big ball of wax with the Oakland Athletics potentially being the newest team to move to Las Vegas. That would be something. Oakland would go from 3 professional sports teams
to
zero in the span of 15, 20 years.
And Vegas would go from 0 to potentially 3 in like 5 years.
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy to think about. Wild times in the sports sampler. But with that, I think we're going to need a little bit of a break. A lot of sports news there that we had to digest, but don't go anywhere, because coming up next, we got the entertainment entree. Might be Emmy entree when you think about it, because we got to go over some nominations there. And then the non-fortune cookie odd news still to come. We'll be right back here on the Crispy Noodle Podcast. We're going to talk about 22-year-old Matthew Kyle Letham. And he decided to call police at 4:45 in the morning because he couldn't find a ride home after the bar at 4:45 in the morning. But that is not the actual oddity of this story. Police encountered Matthew Letham on the scene, and that's when they noted that this dude actually has a tattoo of the state of Florida in between his two eyebrows.
Oh my God.
Yes, and I have his mugshot. So here we go.
He's literally Florida Man.
Yes.
He's like a superhero Florida Man, and that is like his logo.
He is Mr. Florida Man. So
I mean, you know, it's the most harmless Florida story we've ever had.
Yeah, except for the fact that dude has a tattoo
stupid
that will last the rest of his life that he cannot hide.
You cannot undo that. Every job interview he goes to, the very first thing they're going to see and question is the Florida tattoo. Yeah.
It's literally like, can I touch it? Like, it's right there.
You know the scene in Austin Powers Goldmember? The guy who has the mole?
Yeah.
Moly, 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 moly. Yeah. It is that, except with Florida on his forehead. Is anybody more proud of their home state than that guy?
Nope. Can't say it. I can't think of anybody else.
Nope.
So,
I love Pennsylvania, but not that much.
No, I do not want. Pennsylvania is a big state too. I do not want that on my forehead.
It's very square or rectangular. Yeah. What's the weirdest state to get tattooed to a forehead? I think. What do you think would be the weirdest one? I mean, I think Florida, because the way it's shaped.
Florida's pretty weird. California would be weird because it's
very long,
and then it juts out.
No, Michigan.
Ooh, yeah. Because they got
Michigan.
all those like Great Lakes and stuff.
Yeah, and it's split in half.
Ugh, yeah, that would not be good.
That'd be a weird one.
Yeah. Ugh.
Alaska. Oh, Oklahoma. I was going to say Alaska.
Oklahoma, you have to get the box, and then you have to get that little dinky panhandle that goes the other half of your head.
You're literally making yourself a unibrow, and then like it has like a little hat on it.
Yeah. Ew.
What about Alaska? You have that whole chain of islands coming off the side. It's going to like go around the side of your head almost.
Yeah.
This is the dumbest conversation we've ever had. In 8 years of podcast, I think it's safe to say that talking about the weirdest state to tattoo to your forehead, probably the dumbest thing we've ever talked about.
It's 2021, man.
And we were like actually analyzing. You're like, oh yeah, and the islands, and we're like, yeah, that makes sense. There's something fundamentally broken with us, Rich, in 2021.
It's 2021. Nothing makes sense anymore. It's that simple.
The pandemic's gone on too long, Rich. We've hit a breaking point.
Yeah. All right.
Next week we're both going to show up with states tattooed to our foreheads.
Dear God. Yeah, we are back here on the Crispy Noodle Podcast. A lot of sports that we had to get to there, and raw food discussion. That was our two main segments to start off the show.
Yeah, we're weird.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get here on the Crispy Noodle Podcast. That is the truth. But the next segment is actually, I think, going to be pretty straightforward.
Oh, yeah.
I think. I don't
Maybe.
know.
We'll see.
Yeah, you still never know with these things, though, right?
That's right.
But without further ado, let's launch into the second portion of the show. Time for the entertainment entree.
And now, the latest in movies.
The Simpson guy writes to movies. Dear Die Hard, you rock. Especially when that guy was on the roof.
Music.
I know what that is. That's music.
Video games.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
Celebrities.
You really know Warren Beatty?
Yes, I do. I took a leak next to him once at the Golden Globes.
And more.
You were the all-singing, all-dancing crap of the world.
This is the entertainment entree.
Oh man, you know I still love that first bit with the Simpsons. This guy writes to movies.
Yeah, I like that. I like that part where the guy was on the roof.
If you had to write to a movie, what movie would you write to?
The Room.
The Room.
Because I want to get the response.
You want to hear what Tommy says?
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
No, I want to hear what The Room says. Remember, I'm writing to the movie.
But he's in it, so would he be in the room and responding at the same time?
How would a movie respond to us?
I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question.
You just get a note from the movie.
This serious film.
This is a very serious
serious film.
About love and people.
It's very serious.
And the room.
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
You know, that movie came up again recently with me and my girlfriend. We were talking about why it's called The Room. Do you know why it's called The Room? Because I didn't actually look it up. I was.
It
just
only
curious.
happens in that one room. I guess.
No, but it doesn't because there's other rooms. There's the flower shop.
No.
There's the alley.
Most of it happens in that living room.
Is that why?
I don't know. That's what I'm gonna go with.
That was my theory too, but
and that damn door always is open.
They should have called it the door.
Yeah, the
they
open door,
the unlocked door.
Yeah, the unlocked door. Yeah, people just come back and forth.
Yeah,
in and out.
Time wise, I was trying to be very mysterious.
Mike.
Oh hi.
Oh hi, Mike.
I really love the flower shop.
Yeah, the flower shop scene is great.
If you guys don't know about the flower shop scene from The Room, go look it up on YouTube. It is the worst audio editing
ever
in film history.
Yes.
It's fantastic. I love it. It's my favorite scene of all time.
Yes. Hi, Dougie.
Better than the final scene in The Godfather.
Boy, yes, you're absolutely right. Film history 101.
It is. It is, though.
Yes. All right. Well, we got to, we're looking to the past right now. We got to look to the future. And we do that with Mike's segment where he looks over what's coming up this weekend with movies, TV, and video games. It's time for Mike's This Week in Entertainment. All right, what do you have, Mike?
All right, first up in movies, Space Jam: A New Legacy hits theaters this Friday. That's right, Rich. Your favorite movie of all time, featuring your favorite basketball player of all time. It's coming to theaters this Friday. Rich is so upset. Rich is so upset.
You say
that this is in the rundown.
You say one more thing about LeBron James, I'm going to mute you.
A rogue AI kidnaps LeBron James' son. I have to tell the description of the movie. And now the basketball superstar must team up with the Looney Tunes to get him back. It only has a 56 on Rotten Tomatoes, but basketball and Looney Tune fans will most likely have a good time with this fun family movie. It's hitting both theaters and HBO Max, so it won't cost HBO subscribers a thing. Rich, I challenge you to watch the movie and then review it next week.
I can't. I got to do stuff.
Well, there you go. Rich has to do stuff, but that shouldn't stop everybody else from checking out Space Jam: A New Legacy featuring the best basketball player of all time, LeBron James.
No, you're muted. You are muted now. All right, this thing is so stupid. I can't believe LeBron James actually went ahead with this. I mean, I'm sure he's getting paid lots of money for it, but you know what? I don't get it. I do not get it.
I'm back.
Yeah. I'll let you come back.
If you listen to the trailer, his acting is really stiff and wooden. Like, even in the trailer. It's bad. It's bad.
Good. Don't waste your time with it.
No.
Mike, why do you even feature this?
Because it's one of 3 movies coming out this week.
The other 2 probably would have been better.
Maybe. Maybe not. Television's where it's at, though, this week. It is Shark Week all week long. So if you're into sharks, make sure you check out all the specials and movies on Discovery and Nat Geo. But there's also a few good premieres in non-shark TV as well. On Apple TV Plus, Schmigadoon premieres this Friday. It's a musical comedy that follows a couple on a backpacking trip who stumble upon the magical town of Schmigadoon. The entire town is living within a 1940s style musical, and the two backpackers cannot leave until they find true love. The show is loaded with big-name stars and already has an 8 out of 10 on Metacritic, so be sure to check it out. But if you want something decidedly darker, check out this Peacock exclusive based on the hit true crime podcast series, Dr. Death. This miniseries is based on real-life events about a doctor who seriously injured or killed 31 of his patients after performing surgery on them. And then it follows the two doctors and a district attorney who team up to stop him. It is truly a stranger-than-fiction type story. When I listened to the podcast, I could not believe the stuff this doctor got away with. Like, barely able to practice medicine, and he was performing spinal surgeries on people.
All right.
Like,
so
the one quote that I remember from the podcast, the one doctor said, he would have intentionally had to do this surgery wrong in order for it to look the way it did when he went in to correct the surgery that this doctor performed.
Wow.
So go check out Dr. Death on Peacock if you're a fan of true crime or medical drama. It already has a 79 on Metacritic. Could be Peacock's first hit, so definitely want to check it out. And that's what I'm looking forward to this week in entertainment.
Wow, what a range,
swing, right?
What a range of options.
From animation to 1940s musicals to Murder in the Operating Room.
Murder. Fantastic.
That's what I love about TV.
I'm probably going to watch The Murder.
Probably. Look, did you listen to the podcast?
No, I never did.
It's a fantastic podcast, especially the first season. So I really want to check out the Peacock series. But speaking of television and television series, it leads us perfectly into our main topic here in the entertainment entree. Emmy nominations were announced this week.
Yep, Emmys always a big deal. Let you know the TV shows that got critical acclaim, the ones that you remember throughout the past year, the ones you should have watched. Let's go. Let's see, where should we start here? There's so many things. I guess let's go with. I guess this is something that you've been promoting. Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
Is the show that has the most nominations, 13 Emmy nominations, Apple TV.
Yeah. So, I always feel weird talking about Apple TV Plus because I recognize the fact with my MacBook and my iPhone and my watch that I'm, people classify me as an Apple fanboy.
Yeah.
However, I feel like I'm a little justified in this particular area in saying people should give Apple TV Plus a shot. I mean, in only like a year and a half of operation, it's getting a lot of nominations. Ted Lasso in particular, 13 nominations, leading the pack. It's been nominated notably for, if I could find the category, Outstanding Comedy Series, Outstanding
Basically everything
Lead
in
Actor,
comedy.
Basically everything in comedy. It has multiple nominations for, multiple supporting actor and actress awards, which I don't think it'll win because it's splitting the vote. Classic scenario. But it has a real shot at winning Best or Outstanding Comedy Series because it is so, I think it is so entertaining, that series. It has the perfect blend of witty, tongue-in-cheek humor, heartfelt moments, moments of real drama, and it's all wrapped around, the sports world, with it being based on a soccer team. So you have those moments where they actually have every once in a while a soccer game where you're actually getting invested. Like, oh my God, can they pull it off? Can they complete the upset? Can they stay afloat as a franchise? So it's got a little bit of everything for everybody. And the main character is just this perfectly bubbly character on the outside. And then as you get to learn about him, you realize that he's carrying some real weight in on his shoulders and personal issues and trying to stay positive and have that infectious positivity. But he's putting on this mask because he's got some other serious issues going on. It really makes you feel for the character, connect with him, and you are pulling so hard for Ted Lasso, and Jason Sudeikis just does a fantastic job. I cannot say enough good things about this show. I really do think it has a strong possibility of coming out with that major award of Outstanding Comedy Series. But it's facing some really tough competition. Most notably, one of our favorite shows, Cobra Kai.
Yeah, Cobra Kai with a nomination.
Also nominated for Best Outstanding. I think it's interesting that it's nominated as a comedy series because it does straddle that line between comedy and drama.
Yeah, but it's not an outright drama.
It's not an outright drama. No.
So no, I'm thrilled. Go Cobra Kai! Can't wait for season 4. They're already on track for season 4 later this year.
Yeah. Some other notable nominations in the Outstanding Drama Series category. The Boys, Prime Video. I've been watching that. That's great. You have Bridgerton, which got a lot of great press. Lots of women liked it because people were shirtless, I think. I don't know. That was
expert analysis.
Expert analysis. I didn't watch it. You know, it's a Shonda Rhimes show. Not particularly a fan.
Mm-hmm.
Just her writing style bugs me.
Okay.
The Crown, it's a longer conversation for another time. The Crown, The Handmaid's Tale, Lovecraft Country from HBO. How about this? The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Disney Plus. Yeah.
Mandalorian.
I really like that there. And also it highlights this fact. I'm really loving all of the genre fiction getting nominations. Genre fiction meaning sci-fi, dystopian fiction, Lovecraft Country, Mandalorian, things like that. The Boys is a superhero show. So it's, you still have the historical drama pieces, The Crown and Bridgerton, but you also see some genre fiction. It's good to see that. I like to see those genre fiction shows get recognized. Another interesting note here about Emmy nominations: the top 4 networks, quote unquote, are all streaming services.
Yeah, something I just realized looking down the list, the Emmys actually separated HBO with HBO Max. They listed them as 2 separate things.
Oh, you're right, they are.
So the 24 nominations for HBO are separate, I guess, because they actually air on the HBO channel. And then there's 11 nominations just specifically for HBO Max.
Yeah, I just noticed that
and
myself too.
that gets the streaming aspect of it only.
Right.
So that's a weird dichotomy. I'm surprised they separated those two, but I guess in theory those are 2 separate ways to watch the shows.
Is HBO kind of shooting themselves in the foot by breaking them up like that, or do you think it doesn't matter in the long run?
I don't think it matters in the long run. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, HBO
they own it all.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
Right. They own it all. And they even just the HBO alone channel, HBO alone as a channel, still matched with Netflix.
Right.
Netflix with 27 nominations, HBO with 24 noms. So, I mean, it's about the same. I think they're fine with it. That's not a problem.
Yeah. What is noteworthy, though, is the ascent of Disney Plus and Apple TV Plus. I mean, both of those haven't been around as long as Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime, and they're just screaming up the charts with all their nominations. So I think that's really interesting that, in just a few short years of operation, they're already, I'm looking here on the big list from The Hollywood Reporter, which includes the Creative Emmy nominations. Apple TV has 35, including the Creative Arts Emmys, and Disney Plus 71. So, not as much as HBO Max with 130, but still really coming along in terms of newer services, really, making themselves known. I think it's interesting here, which I'm seeing on the big list, the Walt Disney Company. So, including all its properties, because remember, it now owns Hulu and Fox, which is FX, and National Geographic, ABC. The Walt Disney Company total has 146 nominations, and then Warner Media, which is Adult Swim, CNN, HBO, TBS, has 138. So Walt Disney's actually leading the pack when you include all of its individual networks and properties.
All right, so that's including the Creative Emmys.
That's including the Creative Emmys. That's right.
Yep.
I just thought that was interesting. I never really stopped to think about how all those networks now are under Disney. All of Fox's, the 2 streaming services.
Yeah, it's basically going to be monopoly.
Yeah, between the 2 of them, they have almost 300 Emmy nominations between HBO and all of Disney's properties.
Yep.
So,
to go back to the main primetime Emmys, something that I want to point out, The outstanding limited or anthology series category, oh my gosh, that's going to break my heart. I mean, between Mayor of Easttown, Queen's Gambit, WandaVision, that is going to I love all three of those shows.
That for me is the toughest category as well, because
Yeah.
I think all three of them you can make a strong case for winning. I think it's probably going to be either Queen's Gambit or Mayor of Easttown, but WandaVision showing up there, great surprise. I think well deserved. I think it's a little odd that it's considered a limited or anthology series, because are they not doing a second season?
I don't think so. Yeah.
So that I was not aware of. I didn't realize it was a one and done.
I think so, yeah, because
Okay.
they're using these TV shows to build up to the lore of Phase 4. So
Right. So you think they're mostly one and dones, like
Yeah.
Loki might be a one and done?
probably.
I wouldn't mind that. I like limited series. Like out of all the shows here nominated, I've seen more of the limited series than the comedy and drama series.
Mm-hmm.
It's more digestible.
Yeah. Also, something else to point out, too, outstanding variety talk series. Usually Last Week Tonight with John Oliver has owned it for like the last 6 or 7 years. But I think this year with Conan officially departing late night after 27 years, I think he might be in the running to finally take this title away from John Oliver. And it would be deservedly so. I think Conan needs to be recognized for what he did for the late night atmosphere, and I think it's due.
I always enjoyed Conan, but it wasn't one that I watched regularly or liked as much as some of the other late night hosts. But when you look at his career and everything he'd done, I mean, he's had numerous shows over the years on various networks, and he's done it all in different on different networks at different time slots, different shows.
27 years.
Yeah, it really shows, one, longevity, two, flexibility and variety, and the fact that when he moved to TBS, he also had a massive online presence as well.
Yeah.
So he did it online.
He was the first late night host to start doing like specific online segments with
Right.
like Useless Gamer and
Gamer,
stuff like that.
I never really watched Conan, but I would watch every single Useless Gamer clip that came out on YouTube. So like he understood how to capture multiple types of audiences, in different ways. So, yeah, I think that it's more of like how the Oscars gives an award to who's due,
Yeah.
Who's up next kind of thing. I think this is one of those cases where the Emmys should follow suit and maybe just give it to Conan as sort of like a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah.
I think Last Week Tonight still deserves it more because John Oliver does phenomenal. I mean, like his work is transcendent sometimes.
Yeah.
But Conan should get it for, just the general achievement of being on late night 27 years, multiple different networks, multiple different time slots, online presence. I mean, really notable stuff.
By the way, you notice who's not on that list?
Is it Jimmy Fallon?
Nope. So suck on that, NBC, you bastards.
You really just hate Jimmy Fallon for bumping Conan.
I hate NBC. Well, no, he didn't bump Conan. Jay Leno did.
Well, Jay Leno yeah.
Yeah, no, NBC just they went down in my book after that whole kerfluffle.
Yeah.
That trying to
Jimmy
revive
Fallon,
a corpse of Jay Leno. Ugh, that was horrible. I
Right.
can't believe you sacrificed Conan I'm sorry. I know I'm going back from a news topic from 11 years ago now, but that's still not a good feeling. I did not like the way that was handled.
I liked Jimmy Fallon. At the time, he was very fresh, doing video game stuff, doing singing skits, doing, games with his guests. He was always fun, Jimmy Fallon.
I don't know. He laughs too much. I don't like it.
You see, though, you never liked Jimmy Fallon.
No, no, and I always liked the story with Tommy Lee Jones. Did you ever hear about that? Tommy Lee Jones?
No, which one?
There was a story that he was in a movie. I forget which movie it was now, off the top of my head, but like they wanted him to promote it, so they booked him for Tonight Show,
Right.
and Tommy Lee Jones looked at like what he does because he likes to play games and do goofy things with his guests.
Right.
And Tommy Lee Jones called up his agent. And he said, "I am not going on the Jimmy Fallon show, and I'm not playing any of his stupid effing games."
That's
such
that's
a Tommy
awesome.
Lee Jones thing. Yeah.
That's actually really funny.
So
I could see him do it.
Maybe
I'm
just a cranky old man and just like, no, I don't like Jimmy Fallon. Go away. I don't like this hoopla.
You are a cranky old man.
Yeah. So,
But I mean, Tommy Lee Jones does have a point there. You know, Jimmy Fallon does do a lot of wacky, goofy stuff, and I could see him not wanting to do that.
yeah. But I think it's interesting. NBC's not on that list, so suck on that, NBC. I don't know. Is there anything else specifically you want to mention?
Well, you mentioned it. I mean, you brought it up. Hamilton.
Oh, yeah, that's right, Hamilton.
Getting some great nominations.
Yeah.
So I noticed you've been singing it. Have you been watching it?
I did.
More
I
recently?
rewatched it the other night. Yeah.
I mean, it's fantastic.
It is.
though.
It's a great musical. I love the way they captured it on Disney Plus. That they filmed it as the musical, not like. Which, by the way, is something I got to address a little bit because actually, this is actually what I wanted to mention in the beginning of the show in the intro. I watched In the Heights.
Oh yeah, the other Lin-Manuel Miranda musical.
Yeah. It was. Meh.
It's not. It's from what I understand, it's not like his other work.
Yeah, and they tried to shoot it as like an actual movie
instead of like a stage performance.
Yeah, and I think I don't know, it doesn't work well.
Look, so you saw the film version of Les Mis, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't work. I think every time they shoot a musical like a movie,
I think it depends. Some.
I'm trying to think.
It depends on the actual content story, the how it's shot, the adaptation, stuff like that. It depends.
Okay, because Phantom worked.
Right, like a movie script has to have a certain like 3-act structure. You know, there's got to be some points that you have to hit at some point in the 2-hour movie that in a musical maybe you don't have to right on the head. Like, so I gotta say, I watching in the Heights, I'm sure as a musical it works fantastic, but the movie, it kind of seems like the plot is just there's people and things happen. Like it wasn't like a clear, concise plot for a movie.
Right.
But I'm sure when you're watching it as a musical and on stage, you're getting more of like the actual theatrical performance, the musical ability stuff. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't like sometimes it doesn't translate well to a movie, and I think that's the case with In the Heights. But then to flip it on the other hand, Hamilton works brilliantly. I think it's fantastic, and that they kept it as a stage recording. I think it worked well using that format. And I don't know, maybe if In the Heights was shot maybe that way, maybe it would have been a little bit better in my eyes. I don't know. It didn't seem to translate well into a movie format.
I wonder if it's no, because I'm looking up other ones and I'm like, okay, my original statement doesn't really track because there's been other musical movies that have done very well. But maybe it was just specifically In the Heights. Like you need to. Yeah.
I think there's just certain elements that you need in order to make a movie work.
Right.
As opposed to a musical.
Right.
So that was my quick review of In the Heights. But also, getting back to this, Hamilton, I absolutely love the fact it got a lot of nominations as well.
Yeah.
And I have been watching it.
I don't know that it will win any of them. I really hope, though, that Daveed Diggs wins for Marquita Lafayette and Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah.
Outstanding supporting actor in a limited series or movie. Like, I think he could absolutely win that category. I mean, he won the Tony for it.
Yeah.
As well. So, we'll see.
All right.
Go Hamilton.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. All right. Is there anything else? Because, we got to start moving on to...
No, I think that wraps it up for the Emmys. And I think...
There's just so many of them, too. Like, we can't go over every single category.
There's so many of them. But I do want to point out that, once again, we are so smart on the show when we recommend shows like Ted Lasso and Mayor of Easttown, The Handmaid's Tale, WandaVision. These are all the top shows that get nominated. So just listen to us.
Listen. Well, something else you should listen to is our third and final segment where we go over some wacky odd news. Time for the non-fortune cookie odd news.
We've been talking about cool and its ramifications and how it applies to the hip scene. But maybe you could give us some examples now of the opposite of cool, uncool. Just exactly what is uncool?
My nipples look like milk duds.
Holy shnikes.
It's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news.
It's not of this world. I don't know exactly what it is or what it's doing, but this is not human intelligence, okay? It's not human intelligence we're facing!
How you doing? Me? I'm doing great.
Manda bastards. I don't make this stuff up.
I'll take a pound of nuts.
That's a lot of nuts. That'll be $4, baby. You want fries with that?
I seen the celery dance across the baseball fields.
You had me at meat tornado.
No, go past this. Past this part. In fact, never play this again.
Okay. What does that mean?
And now it's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news.
So sit back, get everything you need to get from the kitchen. Be sure and empty the bladders, go to the bathroom, because you're in for a hell of a ride.
Odd news.
That's right, everybody. It's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news. Here in this segment, Rich researches the news, he reads the news, and I react to the news. He finds a weird and wacky story and keeps it hidden from me, which ensures that my reaction is my genuine gut reaction to hearing the story for the very first time. I don't know what's about to happen. You guys don't know what's about to happen. And even Rich doesn't know what's about to happen because this story always takes us down wacky and wild paths. And I'm ready to get started. Rich, where are we heading to?
All right. In this week's story, we're going to Michigan.
Michigan. It's shaped like a hand.
Okay, is that your tagline for Michigan?
It's shaped like a hand. It is.
Okay, I guess. Yeah,
if you had a picture of the state ready, you could show it on the video. But it is. Look it up, everyone. Michigan is shaped like a hand.
I guess you're right. Yeah,
I am.
Yeah, that sounds about right. If you were in charge of the universe, that would be Michigan's tagline.
Yes.
It's shaped like a hand.
On
Come to Michigan.
On their flag, you're coming into the state, and it's like, we're shaped like a hand.
Come to Michigan.
Come to Michigan. Give the state a high five.
There you go.
So what happened in Michigan?
All right. So this is a different kind of story than we've had for the last couple of weeks. I feel very refreshed with a story like this. This is so random.
Okay.
And just, I don't even know what I would do in this scenario. I honestly don't.
Okay. All right.
So it's going to be fun. We're going to follow the story of 33-year-old David Olson, who decided to start a do-it-yourself construction project at his home.
Okay.
I think it's
people
something.
Do that.
Yeah. So, especially COVID. People think maybe they're a little bit more handy.
Mm-hmm.
You maybe took a little, couple YouTube lessons.
Right. You watched a few YouTube tutorials, and now you're a contractor.
Yep. So he decided to do demolition work on his own concrete staircase to improve the outside of his home.
Okay. Sounds difficult.
Yeah, a little
Maybe
bit difficult,
dangerous.
but
it's doable.
Demolition work is basically, just take a hammer, swing it at it, just have some fun.
Right.
Just don't do any, don't do any foundational damage, but other than that, it's nothing really too crazy. As he kept doing the demo work on the concrete staircase, eventually he decided that he would keep digging, and he found something very unusual. He kept hitting it with a sledgehammer, and after he got the top slab removed of the concrete staircase, that's when he found a bowling ball.
A bowling ball?
Oh, my balls!
Yep, a bowling ball.
In the staircase?
Yep. So he takes one out, keeps digging, hits a second bowling ball.
Oh, my balls!
Keeps digging, hits a third bowling ball.
Oh, my balls!
What happened? Why are there so many bowling balls inside of his stairs?
So he says that when it kept happening, he took a picture of the bowling balls that were, quote, sloping from the concrete steps into the house.
Okay.
This is
there a picture?
Yeah, here's the first picture. So there you go.
What?
4 bowling balls right in the concrete pad.
That's so weird.
Yep. So there you go. He found 4 of these bowling balls just right there. But it doesn't end.
Did he find pins?
So after a couple of hours and a couple of sledgehammers, he eventually found a total of 158 bowling balls underneath his house.
Oh, my balls!
158.
How? Also, how much of his house did he demolish?
Oh, my balls!
158 bowling balls?
Yes.
That's an insane number. Like, bowling alleys don't even have that many bowling balls. Have you been to Facena Whitaker? Which is not Facena Whitaker. Like, I always felt like they never had that many balls.
No, I think you're right. I don't think bowling alleys have that many balls.
That's a lot of balls.
Oh, my balls!
158 bowling balls underneath the house.
But how much of his house did he demolish? I feel like bowling balls take up a good amount of space. Like 150 of them. Like,
yeah, he probably had to keep digging with the sledgehammer and it kept cracking at that concrete pad. It is impressive. And I have a second follow-up photo.
Okay.
Here
my God, is it all the bowling balls?
Here's all the bowling balls that he
yeah.
exhumed.
Oh my God. It's like a field of bowling balls.
It looks like those Civil War reenactments, and they have like those
It's just
cannonballs.
It's like a stack of cannonballs.
Yeah, those were all underneath his house.
Oh my God.
158 bowling balls.
That's insanity.
Oh, my balls!
I don't even know where you begin. Like, what do you even do with all of that? I mean, besides maybe, I call up your bowling alley. What else do you do with 158 bowling balls?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, my balls!
What I do know is that was intentional. Like, it was intentional because you don't get 158 bowling balls under a house. Like the construction worker isn't like, oh, whoops, I dropped my bowling ball in the cement.
158 times.
158 times, right?
I've got balls of steel.
Well, now they're trapped in concrete.
I've got balls of steel.
So, oh my God, that's so weird.
158 bowling balls. So Olson says that, quote, the deeper I went down, the more bowling balls I pulled out.
I've got balls of steel.
It became mind-blowing. They came out in all colors, mostly black, blue, and yellow. Unfortunately, most of them are damaged. I mean, that's what happens when
you're attacking them with a sledgehammer.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were also poured in concrete.
Well, that too.
So, unfortunately, yeah, that will damage some of the balls.
I've got balls of steel.
Olson joked that they looked like alien eggs when I was pulling them out.
That's amazing. So, hold on. I just want to... I did some random math because I want to know how big a bowling ball was.
Yes.
A standard bowling ball, a 10-pin bowling ball, is roughly 8.5 inches in diameter. He found 158 bowling balls.
Yes.
That's over 1,200 inches of bowling ball.
A bowling ball?
A bowling ball. That means if you line them up in a straight line, these bowling balls would stretch for 105 feet.
Oh, my balls!
I don't know why I thought that was interesting, but that's a lot of bowling balls.
Yep. He says that the Heritage Museum in downtown Muskegon, has reached out and says they will collect a couple of the bowling balls. He says that also a local church wants 10 of them. I want to know,
yeah,
what church is that a thing in rectories that I don't know in Michigan? Do rectories have bowling alleys? Hey, Father, let's go play a couple frames.
Maybe they're planning on donating them to, I don't know.
I've got balls of steel.
Maybe the church is hosting a bowling night. Down
with their alley in the
right down the center aisle at the church.
Oh, right down the aisle in
right
the
down
church.
You put the pins up. You put the
Oh.
pins up where the tabernacle is. Hey, there's that Catholic education. Put the pins up where the tabernacle is. You just send that ball flying.
Holy roller, here we go.
Holy roller. You're like, Jesus, guide my ball.
Good luck. Here we go.
Oh, my balls!
You bowl, you grab a quick prayer, get a snack of some Eucharist and wine. That's a night out right there, Rich.
There you go. Yeah.
Look at that. All in
Instead
one
of-
place.
Instead of cheese fries and beer, you got
Eucharist and
and
wine.
wine. There you go.
I mean,
holy rolling bowling night.
you just bowl it down the aisles.
There you go. Good luck.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, the pins are in shapes of crosses.
Oh man.
Wow.
So
I'm still amazed at the number of bowling balls
yeah.
you found.
I don't. By the way, so that's only what 10, and then a couple.
You still got like 140 bowling balls to get rid
what
of.
do you do with 140 bowling balls?
Go bowling.
But he said some of them are most of them are damaged. So,
what
can
he
you
should
do
do
with
is
them?
go through all of them, find the one that is the most, not damaged, and that's your bowling ball. And then you only have 139 left to get rid of.
This is like the weird backward
Do you-
version of 99 bottles of beer on the
Do
wall.
you hold on? Here's-
149 balls in my house. 149 bowling balls. Take one down, give it to somebody. 148 bowling balls still in my house.
So
148 bowling balls in my house. 148 bowling balls in my house. Please, someone take another one. 147 bowling balls in my house.
donate one to the church. 146 bowling balls in my house. What I want to know is, does he put them in the trash? Right, because they're heavy. They're like 12 to like 16 pounds.
Oh, the poor garbage men.
So right, exactly. It's too heavy. So he does one a week. For 3 years.
God.
For 3 years.
What is this guy throwing out? Ugh.
Every week his trash is like 20 pounds. I don't
Dear
understand.
God. Barry, you got to get this one. This is too heavy.
But like, how do you get rid of bowling balls?
Yeah, especially this many.
I'm gonna look up how to throw away.
How to throw away a bowling ball?
Because they're huge.
They're pretty significant, and according to
here we go. There's a website, 12 ways.
We're gonna need all of them.
I found an article, 12 ways to dispose of and recycle old bowling balls safely.
Well, yeah, we're gonna need all 12 of them for
There are
this
at
guy.
least a dozen. Okay, so let's see. Let's see what they say. Can bowling balls be recycled? 4 different types of cover stock materials are plastic, poly. This. Oh my God, this gets really intense. Can you call the local recycling centers? Okay. If you're not far from a
Call a recycling center.
Yep.
What?
Ask if they take old bowling balls, because apparently they may be able to be recycled. Hold on. Here's an interesting one. If you're not far from a zoo or animal shelter or sanctuary, the bowling balls could be used as toys for the larger animals, as long as they're not cracked.
Well, some of these are cracked.
Right. And let's see. You could give them away to people.
No, that's not an option.
Could sponsor a drive to collect used bowling equipment.
No. I don't think you want more stuff.
These are just different ways of giving them away. Like, I don't think you can actually dispose of bowling balls. So far, all the suggestions have been like, find someone to schlep them off on. 8 places to donate old bowling balls. Yeah. Fellow bowlers, school bowling league. What to do with cracked bowling balls. It talks about they're made of 3. There's so much to bowling balls I had no idea about.
Yeah, huh? How about that? Next time you go bowling.
They say, see if it can be repaired. This was not a useful list at all. Most of its recommendations were give it to someone else. So he has to give 158 bowling balls away. This list doesn't describe how you can actually throw them away.
This is like, I don't know. This is like one of those weird, like, Make-A-Wish things where it's like, if a genie grants you 158 items of something, would you take it? And this guy spins the wheel and he gets 158 broken bowling balls. Like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Oh, here's a Reddit thread on it.
Oh, you found it?
What he's supposed to do with this. The top comment said, I took mine to the shooting range and had some fun.
Ah, you know what? That's not bad.
I guess.
Blow the MFer up. Go ahead. Have some fun.
And one person said most bowling alleys just chuck them in the dumpster. So I guess you could just throw them in dumpsters around town. Just load up a pickup trunk, go to like every like big store, and just like offload a couple in the dumpster.
Hi, I'm curious. You guys have a big dumpster in the back?
Yeah, right. It's like no reason.
Just curious.
My apartment complex likes to use them as painted decorative lawn ornaments. I have 20-something balls around my garden at the house. It's certainly a conversation starter, if anything.
Ooh.
This person's just leaving them on the lawn, I guess.
I think you're a step away from being a trash lady, whoever that is. That would not.
So again, most of the suggestions were dumpster or shoot them.
I like shooting them. That's a good option.
I mean, that might be something.
Target practice. That sounds fine.
But I'm just insanely curious now about how to throw away bowling balls because you can't just put them in your trash.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, the trash people be like, what the hell? Why is your trash like 30 pounds?
What are you doing in there?
That's insane. I feel so bad for this guy because now he has a yard full of 158 bowling balls.
Oh, my balls!
Well, he's got 10 that he's going to give to the local church for some odd reason, and then a couple to a local museum, so
yeah,
he's probably down to 140, so good luck.
Yeah, right. Good luck. Exactly.
We're pulling for you.
Did it go into any detail as to how they got there, though?
No, they have no idea.
So, like, the people who were pouring, you know what it was? It was a shortcut. People who were pouring the concrete or the cement, they're like, we don't want to waste all this cement and concrete. We're
out of cement.
Let's just use bowling balls. But where did they get all the bowling balls from?
Yeah. Did they just go to, like, every bowling alley in the area and was like, give us your crappy bowling balls you don't want?
Yeah, like some contractor was like, just give me all the bowling balls. That's so weird.
Yeah. There's so many questions to this story.
I love this. This is great. Usually people are like assaulting each other or like jerking off in like a parking lot, peeing and stuff, pooping and stuff. This is like truly odd.
Yeah.
You know, it's like truly like the purest definition of odd. It's random. It's nonsensical. There's no rhyme or reason. It's a mystery. You know, it's something completely out of left field.
Yeah. So
or the left lane.
Yeah, out of left lane. Keep out of left gutter. But unfortunately for David Olson, sorry, I don't know what you're going to do with 140 broken down bowling balls. Good luck. Godspeed.
I've got balls of steel.
That's awesome.
Yep. And there you go. That's what I have for you this week in the non-fortune cookie odd news. Yeah, it was definitely a more unique story than we've had in the last couple of weeks. I told you this one was going to be a little different.
No, that was good. It was different.
Yep. But unfortunately, with that, it does mean that we got to start wrapping up this episode of the Crispy Noodle Podcast. Oh, man. A good show having everything. A lot of sports materials, a discussion about Raw, food, the Emmys.
Of course.
And then
bowling balls. Now that's a show.
Yeah.
You can't get that anywhere except right here on the Crispy Noodle Podcast. Rich, where can you find us?
Boy, that's... You can find us all over the place. We've got the YouTube. We got the podcast services. Just...
What is wrong? You like broke.
Just thinking of this poor guy.
He's just has 150.
Why was this the thing I was blessed with?
He must be so upset.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We're pulling for you, Mr. Olson.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, if you want to support our wacky antics and want to learn more about us, go to our website, thecrispynoodle.com. Make sure you follow us on all the social media channels, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that shebang.
That's right. In addition to the shebang, you can find the podcast on YouTube where you get video versions of the podcast. But you can also subscribe to the audio-only version by going to iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcast, Stitcher, or on Amazon devices. So make sure you search for, download, and subscribe to the Crispy Noodle Podcast on either YouTube or one of those podcast services.
That's right. We also have a SoundCloud page where we have mini noodle promos. Check that out for some interesting and quick laughs as well.
That's right. So many ways to get in touch with and share the Crispy Noodle podcast, but if you want to get in touch with us individually on Twitter to share your sports, entertainment, or odd news stories, you can find us there. I'm at Mikey Costanzo, MikeyCostanzo.
And I am at Rich Liebig, RichLiebig. You can find us on the Twitters. Let us know what's happening. If you've got a topic you want us to talk about on next week's episode, you can send it our way, and we'll take it under advisement. Any odd news stories go to my way as well. And, let us know what's happening. But for right now, we got to wrap this up. This has been the Crispy Noodle Podcast. Let us be the Crispy Noodle in your vegetarian salad of life and boring news. That will do it. We'll see you guys next week.
See you guys
later. Bye-bye, all you fine people.
Some of us have great stories, pretty stories that take place at lakes with boats and friends and noodle salad. A lot of people, that's their story. Good times, noodle salad.